previous owner wasn't required to have it because it was in the back of the house.
Right, so it's the structure, so as long as the structure is out, we can normally get the bank.
Okay.
We are now live streaming, so when you say June will be recorded.
Like sitting on what's on.
I looked at it, I was like, is there enough on there for today? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. By the way,
So yeah.
this one's. I just,
You pull this out at the end of somebody's driveway, it just.
I didn't recognize mine by the drive thing,
Well,
but
I screwed up Michael's talking game at the end. I got kind of weird about, like, with this at the end of people's driveway, like, flipping through reading, so I figured this would.
Yeah.
Except Michael's left backwards. I put it, yeah, it should have been William Street. It wasn't, it was at the end, so I'll put you in the circle. I'll do better next time, I promise.
Okay, that's better.
Hi, Jill.
I'm going to call the meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, welcome to the June meeting of the Town of Lancaster Zoning Board of Appeals. We got a busy night tonight. We have 10 cases on the docket. 5208 William Street, 35 Steinfeld, 47 Tranquility Trail, 15 Red Clover Lane, 5721 Genesee Street, 60 Nictor Road, 13 Hickory Lane, 149 Ransom Road, 72 Michael's Walk, and 2 Deer Path Drive. If you haven't been to one of these meetings before, the way this works is our town clerk, Diane Terranova, will read your legal notice. We'll ask you to come on up and tell us about your project. Members of the board will have the opportunity to ask you questions. We'll open up to members of the public for any feedback as well, and then we'll look to the board for a motion. So with that, I'm going to ask our town clerk to call the roll, please.
Mr. Gazzoni.
Here.
Ms. Kreutzer.
here.
Mr. Michaeli.
Here.
Ms. Monticelli.
Here.
Mr. Noah.
Here.
Mr. Zeller.
Here.
Chairman Matthews.
Here. Okay, with that, we're going to dive right into 5208 William Street. Madam Clerk?
First case considered by the Zoning Board of Appeals is that of the petition of Zachariah Hildair and Rabab Syed, 5208 William Street, Lancaster, New York, for one variance for the purpose of installing a privacy fence in a required front yard on premises owned by the petitioners at 5208 William Street, New York, to wit, a variance from the requirements of Chapter 400 zoning section 34 subsection C of the Code of the Town of Lancaster. The request calls for installing a privacy fence in a required front yard. Chapter 400 zoning section 34 subsection C of the Code of the Town of Lancaster requires within non-industrial districts no fence or wall other than a necessary retaining wall over 3 feet in height shall extend into the front yard of any lot. The petitioners therefore request a 3-foot variance.
Okay, thank you. Why don't you tell us about your project, please?
Actually, it's my son-in-law. Rabab is not here. She's my daughter. She injured herself last night. She fell and, hurt her knee. They want to have that fence because they have 2 daughters. They're under 3, and it's safety of them. They always run, the road is right there. And for privacy, we also have 2 dogs. And just, for protection that, they do need privacy, for kids, safety. So they're young. You always, of course, we supervise them, but still, it's safe for them because there's a busy street. So that is the thing, they just want to have a fence around the house.
we had multiple scenarios where we had the kids outside, and it's just hard to go watching through the camera all day long. We have to be there to supervise them.
Yeah.
If there's fences, then we don't have to worry about that. you
Yeah.
know.
Can I interject? I don't have your names.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Zachariah.
And Rabab Sayed.
Okay, you are. Okay, that's
It's
what-
my daughter. Yeah.
And you have the same name.
Anila Sayed.
Okay, and how do you spell that?
Anila.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything else to add?
Yeah.
And I also have these magnificent, I just got 2 Russian dogs. They're Caucasian Mountain Shepherds. They're
Oh,
lifestyle dogs. And they're very large, and for, safety, I don't want them to ever get out and, an unfortunate event of buying someone or whatever. So I want them to be enclosed and in my control at all times.
They're puppies now, but still,
Okay. I am going to turn it over to the board for questions then, if you're all set. Okay, starting with Mr. Katsoni.
I saw the house, I understand,
Yeah.
I'm good.
Ms. Kritzer?
I drove by as well. I don't see any issues with sight lines. It's set far enough back on Main Street that when you approach, you can still see, so.
Thank you.
Mr. Meckley?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have no further questions.
Okay, thank you, sir. Ms. Monticelli?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wonder, and I apologize if it's in here somewhere, but it's not, oh, there we go, vinyl white fence. Okay, that's what I was going to ask. And like the others, I saw your property.
We are matching, so
Yes.
it doesn't look bad to, with our neighbors, so.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's definitely, you need a fence there. And the 6 foot, now you could be, here. You could get a 3-foot fence without being here to ask for the variance. But can you just explain to us why you
And
went to
also,
6?
because our patio is high, so when, of course, you get together, you don't want you want privacy, right? Because you don't want to show that everybody's watching what you're doing. We have like sometime water, a play, area around there. And still, we don't want that, like kids, get distracted and everybody, so that is a standard and also matches with our neighbor, So we don't want to look, like awkward. So that is also 6 feet, and we don't want to match with our neighbor. So it looks nice too, at the same time.
And if I could add, also the dogs could jump over 30 feet easily. They go up to 240 pounds. So
I want to see these dogs. I really do. I love
beautiful.
shepherds.
They're
Yeah.
beautiful.
That is all I have. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Monticelli. Mr. Nowak?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have no questions.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Zelak?
Mr. Chair, I only have one question. You talked to any of your neighbors?
On this side, Charlie, yes, right?
Yeah, so facing William Street, the gentleman on the right, he had a little problem. He thought that the fence would go all the way in the middle and disconnect the 2 properties. And I explained to him, that's why he's not here today.
Can I
Yeah.
interrupt? It was a misunderstanding.
Yes.
He thought, my daughter told me, it was a big misunderstanding. He thought we were putting on the front, yard. No, absolutely not. This is on the backyard.
Okay.
So I spoke to him too, and I said, do you have any concern? And he actually came and approached us. He said, oh, I'm so sorry. I thought you guys were going to put it on the front. I said, absolutely not, on the backyard. So that was a misunderstanding. I don't know if you're aware
All
of
right, so
that.
there's no objections from your neighbor then?
Not that I know of. They didn't. I asked all of them. I'm a considerate person, and almost everybody said, "You're good."
All right, thank you very much. I have no further questions.
Thank you so much for your time too.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Does anyone in the public have anything to comment on this project? Okay, I'll look. Is there a motion from the board?
Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Appreciate it.
you're not done.
We're not done yet. We got to make a motion to either approve or
I
not
heard
approve
you're
it.
gonna go with the next one. So are we gonna get like confirmation from you guys?
Probably like right now.
Okay.
Probably.
By the way, this is my first time, so that's why I'm.
Yeah, so
feeling
once
the-
you speak, and once
Sure.
you've asked some questions, see
Sure.
if anybody from the public has anything to say,
Okay.
a board member will make a motion on whether to
Okay.
approve or
Okay, we can sit down.
not. Is there a motion from the board?
I'll make a motion to accept.
Okay, Mr. Gazzoni.
Whereas the zoning board of appeals of the town of Lancaster has made the following findings that the area of variance for a single-family residence, according to part 617.5C of New York State Code Rules and Regulations, is the type 2 action that has been determined not to have significant impact on the environment. Before it is not subject to, you're gonna have a sequera review. That no undesirable change will be produced in the character of the neighborhood by the granting of the area variance of relief sought no determination to nearby, or no deterrent to nearby properties will be created in granting of the area variance relief sought. Let's see. The belief sought by the applicant cannot be achieved by some other method feasible for the applicant to pursue other than area variance relief sought for 6 foot. That's where we put it? 6 foot side yard with the justification for requesting this variance. And that the requested area variance relief is sustainable provided the reason. Got me from there.
Is not substantial.
Is substantial
Okay.
to provide for the reason that a 6 foot side variance would be needed. That's it, right?
Motion by Mr. Gazzoni, second by Mr. Mickley. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Mr. Gazzoni?
Yes.
Ms. Kreutzer?
Yes.
Mr. Mickley?
Yes.
Ms. Monticelli?
Yes.
Mr. Noah?
Yes.
Mr. Zeller?
Yes.
Mr. Matthews?
Yes. Now your motion is granted. You're good to go. The request has been granted. You have to follow up with the building department.
Thank you so much. So that's downstairs, I assuming, building
Yes.
department?
Tomorrow.
Okay, and we have to get any confirmation letter from them? Or how we can
He'll
start the process?
tell you about it tomorrow.
Thank you so much.
Yep. Thank
And
you.
you're
Have a
my
good night.
first, so I apologize for it.
I hope your daughter is okay.
Thank you so much.
And you
That
can,
was my first time, too, so that's a good thing.
and you don't need to stay if you don't want to stay.
It's a,
Yeah, you're good. Yeah, you're going to stay.
Appreciate it.
thank you so
very
much.
Diane, do you have a copy of the findings?
Yeah, a few of us didn't have copies.
We can share.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Okay, our next case of the evening is 35 Steinfeld. Madam Clerk, when you're ready, could you please read the legal notice?
The second case considered by the zoning board of appeals is that of the petition of Christina Strobel and Matt Jasker, 35 Steinfeld Road, Lancaster, New York, for one variance for the purpose of installing a privacy fence on the premises owned by Christina Strobel at 35 Steinfeld Road. A variance for the requirements of Chapter 400 zoning, Section 34, subsection C of the Code of the Town of Lancaster. The request calls for installing a 6-foot-tall privacy fence in the required front yard. Chapter 400 zoning, Section 34, subsection C of the Code of the Town of Lancaster requires within non-industrial districts no fence or wall other than a necessary retaining wall over 3 feet in height shall extend into the front yard of any lot. Petitioners therefore request a 3-foot variance.
All right, is anyone here from 35 Steinfeld? All right, just give us your name and addresses for the record, please, and then tell us about your project.
Christina Strobel, 35 Steinfeld.
Matt Jasker.
Same address?
Yes.
Awesome. All right, tell us about your project.
So we're looking to replace the existing 6-foot wood fence that came with the house when we bought it about 1.5 years ago. It's starting to kind of deteriorate at the bottom. Some of the posts are kind of wonky. And then during the winter, during one of the windstorms, it kind of collapsed our gate. So our gate is no longer usable. We have a dog. He's a pit bull mix. He's very friendly, but he will jump a 3-foot fence. We're the corner lot, so it's very busy. We have dog walkers and kids that walk by there all the time. And it's, a privacy issue. A 3-foot fence, I don't think would really render very much privacy.
We not only worry about safety for our dog jumping over the fence, but other dogs jumping in and deer.
Okay.
And if deer get in a yard with a dog, it's a whole other story. 3 foot, and also safety reason that any person can just hop over. We just want to match our existing fence with a newer, nice vinyl fence. The old wood one is just looking a little bit too dilapidated.
All right. I have a question for Matt. Does the current fence have a variance?
It does not, nor did it have a permit.
Okay.
Our understanding.
Okay. That's all I got. I'm going to turn over to the boards, this time with Ms. Kreutzer.
I don't have any questions. It's pretty cut and dry.
Thank you. Mr. Mickley.
Thank you. I have no questions.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Monticelli.
Thank you, it's pretty straightforward, I don't have any questions.
Thank you. Mr. Nowak?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have no questions.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Zelak?
Mr. Chair, I just have one question. How long have you been at the property for?
About a year and a half.
Year and a half? Okay, thank you. No further questions?
And Mr. Gazzoni?
None, thank you.
All right. Is there any comment from the audience? Okay, seeing none, is there a motion from the board?
I will make a motion.
Okay, motion by Ms. Kreutzer.
Whereas the Zoning Board of Appeals of the Town of Lancaster has made the following findings: that this area variance for a single-family residence, according to Part 617.5 C17 of the New York State Codes Rules and Regulations, is a Type 2 action and has been determined not to have a significant impact on the environment, therefore is not subject to a secret review. That no undesirable change will be produced in the character of the neighborhood by the granting of the area variance relief sought, as a 6-foot privacy fence is pretty common amongst the neighborhood and the surrounding homes. That no detriment to nearby properties will be created by the granting of the area variance relief sought. That the benefit sought by the applicant cannot be achieved by some other method feasible for the applicant to pursue other than the area variance relief sought. That the requested area variance relief is not substantial. That the proposed area variance relief will not have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood or district. That the alleged difficulty is self-created, but not to the extent necessary to preclude the granting of the area variance relief sought. That this board has taken into consideration the benefit to the applicants if the variance relief sought is granted as weighted against the detriment to the health, safety, and welfare of the neighborhood or community by such grant. That with the intent and purposes of this ordinance, the variance relief sought, if granted, is the minimum variance necessary to afford relief. That such fence will not unduly shut out light or air to adjoining properties, and that such fence will not create a fire hazard by reason of its construction or location.
Okay, thank you. Motion by Ms. Kreutzer. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Monticelli. Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Mr. Gazzoni?
Yes.
Ms. Kreutzer?
Yes.
Mr. Michaeli?
Yes.
Ms. Monticelli?
Yes.
Mr. Nowak?
Yes.
Mr. Zeller?
Yes.
Mr. Matthews?
Yes. Okay, the request is granted. You can follow on up with the building department.
All right, thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Okay, we're moving on to 47 Tranquility Trail. Madam Clerk, when you're ready, please read the legal notice.
Third case considered by the Zoning Board of Appeals is the petition of Wasum and Jenna Mosini, 47 Tranquility Trail, Lancaster, New York, for one variance for the purpose of installing a driveway on premises owned by the petitioners at 47 Tranquility Trail, to wit, a variance from the requirements of Chapter 400, zoning section 14, subsection D, Schedule B of the Code of the Town of Lancaster. The request calls for installing a driveway 2 feet from the side property line. Chapter 400, zoning section 14, subsection D, Schedule B of the Code of the Town of Lancaster requires a minimum side yard for parking, loading, and stacking areas abutting a residential district of 5 feet. Petitioners therefore request a 3-foot variance.
Okay, could you please give your name and address for the record?
Sure, I'm Jenna Mosini at 47 Tranquility Trail.
Thank you, and when you're ready, tell us about your project.
So we'd like to install a parking pad on the side of the house, as well as widen a bump out all the way up to that. Main reason being we have 3 kids, so at some point there will be 5 licensed drivers in the house, which is scary but imminent. So as it sits right now, 2 cars next to each other in the driveway we have, you can hardly open doors. So we'd like to have that parking pad to enable that, but there's safety and convenience to it, as anytime the kids want to play basketball, we're putting cars in the street so that they can have room in the driveway to do so. And the variance would allow us to pull up on the parking pad aside adjacent to the house and be able to open the doors properly. Otherwise, it's probably not going to be doable as is.
Okay, I'm going to turn it to the board for questions, starting with Mr. Mickley this time.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Did you think at all about doing it on the other side?
It's not possible. It would go up to our front door. It would be not feasible.
All right. That's the only question I have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Ms. Monticelli?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Have you spoken to the neighbor that,
Before I even pursued anything, I wanted to know how the neighbor adjacent that would be affected, yes.
okay,
He said you can pave all the way to ours if you want. I said, I don't think that's going to fly.
less grass to mow, right?
Right.
Have you considered an alternative like kicking the kids out?
2 are my stepkids, so I don't think that would go over well.
Not go over well. Understood. Okay, that's all I have.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Mr. Novak?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I did look at the property, and my driveway is very similar. It's pretty tight with 2 cars on there, so I can understand your situation. I have no questions.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Zelak?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. No questions.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Gazzoni?
No questions.
All right, and Ms. Kritzer?
The only question I had is, and this might be a Matt question, is there a utility easement on that side?
Not so much, but there is a drainage swale that does convey water from midpoint of the side yards to the front of the property.
So if there were any issues and that needed to be dug up, that would be the responsibility of the homeowner?
It would be, but I think more importantly would be to maintain the swale to continue to convey water along the property line.
And that would be done by the concrete?
Property line, yeah. The driveway's level, right, so you're gonna come off the garage pad level to the side yard, and that was the purpose of codifying the distance setback, was to be the main swales, and the area, between park car and property.
Okay. Any other questions?
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions or comments from the audience? Okay, I'll look to the board. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, motion by Mr. Mickley.
Whereas the zoning board of appeals of the town of Lancaster has made the following findings. That this area variance for a single-family residence according to part 617.5 C17 of the New York State Code Rules and Regulations is a type 2 action has been determined not to have a significant impact on the environment, therefore it is not subject to secret review. That no undesirable change will be produced in the character of the neighborhood by the granting of the area variance relief sought. That no detriment to nearby properties would be created by the granting of the variance relief sought. That the benefit sought by the applicant cannot be achieved by some other method feasible for the applicant to pursue other than the area variance relief sought. That the requested area variance is not substantial. That the proposed area variance will not have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood or district. That the alleged difficulty is self-created but not to the extent necessary to preclude the granting of the area variance relief sought. That this board has taken into consideration the benefit to the applicants if the variance relief sought is granted, as weighed against the detriment to the health, safety, and welfare of the neighborhood or community by such grant. That within the intent and purposes of this ordinance, the variance relief sought, if granted, is the minimum variance necessary to afford relief.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Mickley, seconded by Ms. Monticelli. Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Mr. Gazzoni?
Yes.
Mr. Kreutzer?
Yes.
Mr. Mickley?
Yes.
Ms. Monticelli?
Yes.
Mr. Nowak?
Yes.
Mr. Zeller?
Yes.
Mr. Matthews?
Yes. Okay, your request has been granted. You're going to follow on up with the building department, and you'll be good to go.
So they will give me whatever I need in writing so that we can get started?
Really isn't any follow-up.
No follow-up necessary.
There's no permit required. We will receive the findings from the clerk's office.
So as soon as we have something in writing, we can start to pursue?
We'll send it to you
Okay.
as soon as possible.
So I don't know further action needed on my part to come here? Okay.
And
Thank you very much.
You do not need to kick the kids out, so.
Not yet.
good.
Thank you.
All right, we are moving on to 15 Red Clover Lane. Madam Clerk, when you're ready, the legal notice, please.
The fourth case considered by the Zoning Board of Appeals is that of the petition of Lucinda Kilbury, 15 Red Clover Lane, Lancaster, New York, for one variance for the purpose of extending a residential driveway parking area on premises owned by the petitioner at 15 Red Clover Lane, New York, to wit. A variance from the requirements of Chapter 400 zoning section 14, subsection D, Schedule B of the Code of the Town of Lancaster. The request calls for extending a residential driveway parking area 3 feet 10.5 inches from the side property line. Chapter 400 zoning section 14, subsection D, Schedule B of the Code of the Town of Lancaster requires a minimum side yard for parking, loading, and stacking areas abutting a residential district of 5 feet. The Petitioner therefore requests a 1 foot, 1.5 inch variance.
Okay, thank you. Could you please give your name and addresses for the record, please?
My name's Lucinda Kilbury. I live at 15 Red Clover Lane in Lancaster.
I'm Greg Wenner. I live at 15 Red Clover Lane in Lancaster. Husband.
Thank you. Tell us about your project.
So we just want to widen the driveway a little bit, and our cement guy said that we have to have at least 3 inches, or 3 feet, preferably 4 feet, for the integrity of the cement. He's afraid that if he goes less than 3 feet, that it's going to be
Crumble.
yeah,
Even if
fail.
he ties in with rebar, but he said it's.
He's worried about the integrity of
Yeah.
it. And when we first planned to do this, he had told us that, I don't think he realized in Link, he said, oh, you just have to be 3 feet off the property, so we were all excited. And he said, call and get a permit, so I called, and that's when they said, oh, no, you have to be 5 feet off. So we were hoping to get 13.5 inches. We looked at the other side, in front of the house, you know, directly, and it would look kind of funny. Like, this side would look more pleasing to the neighborhood. I've driven around the neighborhood, and other people have like a wider on the side. It looks better. No one else really has anything that goes like into the front yard in front of the house. Before you ask, we didn't talk to the neighbors because I didn't know we were allowed to. Because they made it sound like they were going to send everything out, and I didn't know if I was like allowed to sway them. But I mean, we're friendly with our neighbors. No one said anything. We have like we had it flagged already, and had some utilities moved just in case. Oops.
It's a similar situation to our neighbor that was just before us. We have 4 drivers in our family. We're constantly switching cars around, and
Yes, we were just hoping if we had just a little more room, we could get in and around each other.
plus more room to play basketball. So.
Okay, I will turn it to the board for questions unless you have anything else to add. Okay, starting this time with Ms. Monticelli.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm a little uncomfortable that you didn't talk to your neighbors. That you don't instinctively know that, I understand, but they presumably did get the notification.
I mean, I did talk to one just because he asked what the flags were.
Right, I'm mostly concerned about the property right next to yours, their property line, which you're going to be
Sure.
close to. Okay, and you're talking about an entire driveway, not a parking pad, is that right?
We're just going to widen not the whole driveway, just the part between.
Up to the utility.
Up to the utility of the house.
Okay.
By 4 feet, right?
We want to do 4
additional
feet
4 feet,
total, yeah. And we're like 10 and.
So our variance request is for for a foot and
13 an inch and a half. Yeah, so 13 inches. Yeah.
Okay. All right, that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Nowak.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So first of all, thanks for all the diagrams. It's very, very thorough. I guess the only concern that I have, if there is any, in regards to the Verizon box. So it looks like you're going to kind of bevel the driveway, right? It's going to be kind of rounded off.
Yeah.
Over by the.
And I called Verizon. They're supposed to come out and just verify where the cable is, and if they'll move it. They said if we get the variance, they said they would if they needed to move it. We don't think they will, but they said they're really far behind because of the weather. But they're coming. I have the text.
So it looks like the driveway is about 6 feet away from that box. Is that?
Did I write it on here? Probably. Yes, I think it's 6 feet.
I don't have any further questions.
Okay, thank you, sir. Mr. Zilak.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have no questions.
Okay, thank you, sir. Mr. Consoni.
Same question as the last one, the maintenance of the swale, because I'm assuming there's a swale between. And just out of personal experience, watch where you push your snow.
Yeah, I was running out of places to put it this year.
Okay, I'm in that myself, so that's my only question is that the well has to be maintained, and you have a gutter on that side that I actually didn't catch in the other one, so you might want to address that from not running over. But otherwise, I'm good with it.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Grutzer.
Yeah, the only question I have is about the neighbor as well, just because this one is a little bit tighter than the other one. So it would be helpful to know that the neighbors are okay with it, but again, they did get notified, so.
We see them every day. If we can talk to them. And
They're lovely people.
If you want this contingent upon our conversation with them, we could do that.
Just
We see them.
probably just more suggestion at this point. That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Mickley.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have no questions.
Okay, are there any questions or comments from the audience? Okay, is there a motion from anyone on the board?
I'll make a motion.
All right, motion by Mr. Nowak.
Whereas the Zoning Board of Appeals of the Town of Lancaster has made the following findings, that this area variance for a single-family residence according to Part 617.5C17 of the New York State Code's rules and regulations is a Type 2 action and has been determined not to have a significant impact on the environment, therefore is not subject to a secret review, that no undesirable change will be produced in the character of the neighborhood by the granting of the area variance relief sought, that no detriment to nearby properties will be created by the granting of the area variance sought, that the benefits sought by the applicant cannot be achieved by some other method feasible for the applicant to pursue other than the area variance relief sought. The requested area variance relief is not substantial, that the proposed area variance relief will not have an adverse react or impact on the physical environment conditions in the neighborhood or district, that the alleged difficulty is self-created, but not to the extent necessary to preclude the granting of the area variance relief sought, that the board has taken into consideration the benefit of the applicants if the variance relief sought is granted, as weighed against the detriment to the health, safety, and welfare of the neighborhood or community as by such grant, that within the intent and purposes of this ordinance, the variance relief sought, if granted, is the minimum variance necessary to afford relief.
Motion by Mr. Nowak. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Zelak. Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Mr. Gazzoni?
Yes.
Ms. Kreutzer?
Yes.
Mr. Mickley?
Yes.
Ms. Monticelli?
Yes.
Mr. Nowak?
Yes.
Mr. Zeller?
Yes.
Chairman Matthews?
Yes. Okay, the request is granted.
Greg, can I get the spelling of your last name? Your first name is Greg?
Yeah, Gregory, W-E-N, as in Nancy, E-R.
W-E-N. Thank you.
Okay, we are heading into 5721 Genesee Street. Madam Clerk, when you're ready, please read the legal notice.
The fifth case considered by the Zoning Board of Appeals is that of petition of Bruce Hora, 73 Stony Brook Drive, Lancaster, New York, for one variance for the purpose of fill placement in a floodplain on premises owned by Bruce and Sally Hora at 5721 Genesee Street, New York, to wit, a variance from the requirements of Chapter 182, zoning section 5.1, subsection B4 of the Code of the Town of Lancaster. The request calls for fill placement in a floodplain without compensatory storage. Chapter 182, zoning section 5.1, subsection B4 of the Code of the Town of Lancaster requires whenever any portion of a floodplain is authorized for development, the volume of space occupied by the authorized fill or structure below the base flood elevation shall be compensated for and balanced by a hydraulically equivalent volume of excavation taken from below the base flood elevation at or adjacent to the development site. All such excavations shall be constructed to drain freely to the watercourse. No area below the water line of a pond or body of water can be credited as a compensating excavation. The petitioner therefore requests fill placement on parcel without compensatory storage.
Okay, thank you, Madam Clerk. Can you please give your names and addresses for the record, please?
Sure. My name is Matt Dubois. I'm here on behalf of the applicant. My address is 9726 or 9276 Main Street in Clarence.
And your last name again?
That's Dubois.
Thank you.
Ken Zolich with the engineering firm GPI, 4950 Genesee Street.
Bruce Hora, 73 Stony Brook, Lancaster.
When you're ready, tell us about your project.
Sure, good evening. As Mr. Arno summed up very well, this is a request simply for relief from one section of the Chapter 182 of the Town Code that requires compensatory storage for floodwater. Excavation and fill is placed within the special flood hazard area below the base flood elevation. So in this case, Mr. Hora is building a house at the subject property. That's the plan, and he has placed fill on the property in order to raise the home site above the base flood elevation to prevent flood damage in the future. And he's submitted for a LOMRF, it's a letter of map revision based on fill, to have FEMA officially recognize that the home is raised above the base flood elevation.
Excuse me, I'm going to stop you right there. You're competing with a lot of loud
Do we know what's
talkers
going on
behind
over
you.
there?
Could you just either speak up a little or use the microphone, please?
Sure, I'll do my best.
Thank you.
Ooh, it works. All right. He's requested the letter of map revision from FEMA to show that the site was raised above the base flood elevation, but because the town code requires compensatory, floodwater storage to be excavated, we are requesting this variance because the site, the size of it, the layout, and the presence of the wetland buffers in the area would require more wetland permitting. May or may not even be feasible to obtain those permits, and also, most importantly, because the purpose of this section of the floodwater code is fulfilled in this case due to the nature of the site. The concern with this provision of the law is to make sure that the base flood elevation is not raised, the flood levels will not be raised by the added fill, no increased flood velocity of the floodwaters or diversion of floodwater additionally onto other people's property. And just due to the engineering that's been done in this case, we've been able to determine that all those concerns would be avoided in this case. It will not impact, there will be no rise in the flood elevations caused by this placement of this fill. This property is not in the floodway, the regulated floodway that actually conveys the floodwaters to Ellicott Creek. It is sort of in the outer area of the floodplain. So we believe that the purpose of this code is still met even if this variance is granted, if there is no compensatory storage. And we think the variance is justified here, and I'll go through the factors. It's a little different from the normal area variance factors that we're used to because they're provided by Chapter 182. So there's 12 factors for the board to consider. First being the danger that materials may be swept onto other lands. In this case, I think there's little to no danger of materials being swept onto other land. This is compacted fill that will have a house built on it, will have grass growing on it. There's no material swept onto other lands. Number two is danger to life and property due to flooding or erosion. So as I've stated, GPI's engineering shows that there is no increase to flood level attributable to this fill, and it's compacted fill which will have grass and a building on it, so erosion should not be a concern. Number three is susceptibility of the proposed facility and contents to flood damage. If anything, this project makes the home less susceptible to flood damage by raising it above the base flood elevation, and FEMA approval will be required through the LOMRF before any building permit is issued in any event. Number four is the importance of services provided by the proposed facility. It's not a public facility, so it's not really providing public services, but it is residential, providing residential service to Mr. Hora and his family, and I find that to be an important service. The five is the necessity of waterfront location. Not really applicable in this case. It's not a waterfront location. It's not waterfront dependent. Six is the availability of alternative locations not subject to flooding. And it's no real locations available. This is the land he owns, where he has placed his fill and will be building his house. Seven is the compatibility with existing and anticipated development. I think this residential use is very compatible with the surrounding residential uses. It's fully compatible. Number eight is the relationship to the comprehensive plan and floodplain management program. This is very compatible with the comprehensive plan. This is the type of land use that is planned for this area, and it's compatible with floodplain management. As you know, he's going through FEMA to get the letter of map revision. This raises the elevation above the base flood elevation, and so I believe it is quite consistent with flood management. Number nine is safety of access for ordinary and emergency vehicles during flood. If this impacts access at all, I would say it improves it just by raising the property above the flood elevation. Number 10 is the cost to local government and dangers associated with search and rescue. I would find that there is no real increased cost to the government or any increased search and rescue costs by raising this building up. And again, bearing in mind that the engineering shows no increase to the flood levels due to this fill. Number 11, the expected heights, velocity, duration, rate of rise, sediment transport, and wave action. The relevant evidence there is GPI's hydraulic model and their hydrology report, which again shows no increase in flood waters due to this fill, just given the location of the site. Number 12, last but not least, costs of governmental services during and after flood condition. There's no additional costs anticipated. It doesn't increase the flood elevation or affect public infrastructure. But that's what I have for the factors. So just given the cost and difficulty and infeasibility of trying to dig compensatory storage on this site, given the size and the wetland proximity, we think that this variance is justified in this case. We hope you'll agree.
So the intent is to remove the property from the flood map.
Yeah, raise it up above the flood elevation.
I'm going to turn to the board for questions, this time with Mr. Nowak, right? You're up next.
I'm up next. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would just ask Matt, is there any concerns on your part?
Well, again, it's a local standard that prevents me from signing the community acknowledgement form to submit the information to FEMA to remove that section of the property outside of the floodplain. The duration of the project was very long. The technical analysis of it was very long. Unfortunately, I did rely on a consultant's review of the data that was provided months after the original application. Again, I'm a proponent of providing additional protections against future flooding as a result of development. It's just my nature, but the local law requires it, and it does not allow me that ability to sign off on the documentation to submit to FEMA.
And the build would still be contingent upon the FEMA approval?
Well, that portion of the build site is going to be removed from the flood hazard area, so it's going to be permitted to be built as a conventional construction practices.
I have no further questions.
Okay, thank you, sir. Mr. Zeli.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So the map revision, how long, what's the duration of that? Is that a short process? Is it a multiple year process?
No, that's a relatively short process. So with the letter of map revision through Phil, essentially what occurs is that Bruce, who's already filled the property, we raise that up, we go out, we survey it, confirm that the elevation that his house is going to be at is above the floodplain, so that there's no longer floodplain concerns. With that, we prepare a form. It does have to be signed off by the town. We submit that to FEMA. Usually the turnaround for something like that is a matter of a few weeks for us to get that acknowledgement from FEMA that the site where his house will be is going to be removed from the floodplain.
Yes, we'll definitely fairly fast. Second question is, where on your property's location is the residence tentatively being built? How far back? I didn't see it in the, unless I missed it.
Yeah, I don't know if I've got a setback on here. I know we're generally meeting the town front yard setback, probably exceeding it by approximately 10 feet, so I'd probably say we're in the ballpark about 30 feet off Genesee Street.
Okay, so fairly close.
And just for reference for the board, the floodplain that's associated here covers the bulk of Genesee Street in this area of town. However, Genesee Street itself is approximately a mile away from the creek where these floodwaters occur. So you're talking about a very expansive, very significant floodplain, but a very shallow one that just tends to cover the entire area in there. But when we're talking about what Bruce has filled, 7,000 cubic yards of fill, very minuscule in terms of looking at the greater floodplain area, which is why, we went through that study knowing more than likely that our analysis, our study of the floodplain would indicate that there would be no rise in any flood elevation, even without that compensatory storage, that excavation that would have to occur on site.
Okay, thank you very much. I have no further questions.
Okay, thank you, sir. Mr. Consoni.
The one neighbor that you do have, I believe, facing the property to the left, is there any concerns from them?
No.
All right, and I'm going to assume the house will have a basement?
Yes.
All right, so the fill from that will be removed from property, or are we going to try to fill more in the back? What my concern is the neighbor in the future, if we redistribute that fill from the dig and raise up higher above the neighbor's property, or even possibly above the grade of the road.
I don't think you can go above the property, they'll spread it laterally.
Right, but, so the neighbor's good,
Well,
right?
according to the drawings that we have now, we only went, because of the town, you can only go so far past your eaves now, so there is more filling to do.
All right.
To get it to comply with all the drawings that we have.
Yeah, so for clarification, the buildings itself, when we're talking about FEMA and floodplains, the buildings themselves need to be up and out of the floodplain.
Right.
The driveway, however, does not. You have to be about 20 feet away on all sides of the building, go 20 foot beyond that, and any structure you're talking about. But your remaining yard, your remaining driveway does not have to be up that high. We did do an as-built of the fill. I haven't necessarily compared that perfectly to what was proposed. We don't have an exact house footprint at this time either. So some of that fill could be placed on the property without causing any type of adverse effect and staying within our granted fill permit that we've already received. Excesses could be removed off-site.
And then the second one would be of caution, if the basement's finished and there's a second path egress, your window will be lower than that, which will bring you back in the floodplain. So please, if you do finish the basement, be cautious of that.
Yeah, typically any architectural opening does need to remain above the floodplain level even when we're raising it up. Obviously, the basement floor would be below, but any type of architectural opening would remain above.
Your map changes every now and then. So.
It does.
That's it for me.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Kreutzer?
I guess the variance that's being requested is, it's based on the fact that it's in a floodplain now, is that correct? That's the reason that they need the variance?
It's a local requirement to provide additional area beyond what the standards of the federal guidelines are.
Yeah, so the variance we're requesting tonight really doesn't have to do with filling in the floodplain. That part, we've kind of followed the rule. We're in conformance with FEMA. What we're asking for a variance on tonight is more on the local law that requires compensatory storage. Compensatory storage basically being an excavation on site. So essentially, if you're filling one area, the town would like you to excavate in another part of your property to kind of keep essentially the floodplain the same. What GPI has done through our analysis, through data that's provided through FEMA themselves, and then interpolated through us, is that we've proven that even without that excavation, we're not changing the floodplain level. And that's really what we believe is the nexus of the town code, saying, you know, we don't want you to just go ahead and fill all these areas because you could ultimately raise the floodplain, and it is not a requirement by any means when you do a LOMR F to do a floodplain study like we have. We work in a lot of places where you can go ahead and fill in the floodplain, get a LOMR F, get your property removed. The times when we typically have to do a floodplain study is usually when we're talking about impacts to the floodway, which is more of like your creek channel where water is more likely to flow on a day-to-day basis as opposed to the 100-year where it's a heavier storm event. We are over 3,000 feet away from that floodway. So really our analysis is really above and beyond what is typically required, but we needed to do it basically in order to get away from this compensatory storage, this excavation on site due to the wetlands on the property. And basically we wanted to limit disturbance, limit the tree disturbance and everything in the back where we would have to place something like this.
So approving this variance is, or granting the variance, it's still like, building on the property is reliant upon this, having this variance, correct?
Correct, because we're requesting this variance so that way we have, I guess, that variance from local law, so that way Matt can then take a look at that application to FEMA, sign off on it saying, yes, things have been met, and we can then submit it to get the property, get the site removed from the floodplain.
Okay, understood. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kreutzer. Mr. Mikely?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm sorry if you did say it or if it's in this package in here somewhere, but how much fill are we talking?
About 7,000 cubic yards.
Okay. And you're the engineer, right?
I
You're the
represent
GPI, you're from GPI.
yes. The
So do you do this for your clients every, so is the local code that we have here, you're saying it's a little overreaching as far as what you're used to?
I don't want to say it's overreaching. We have examples in other municipalities, but not everyone does require something.
So do you recommend for your clients, regardless of where they are, that they do this, that they try to get a variance or a waiver from the compensatory evacuation?
In communities where there is no compensatory storage requirement, we do not. The study that was performed here is the costly study. So it's not something that we're always recommending. I mean, I'd love to do one every time because we get paid more, but.
Right, but is the compensatory, I thought the compensatory portion of it, I thought that was a FEMA thing, and not a local.
It's from chapter 182 of the tax code.
The compensatory is only Lancaster, is only our code. Okay.
Correct. FEMA does not.
FEMA, okay, so FEMA.
FEMA
says
will
you
not
can
be
do it without-
reviewing,
Okay.
you know, if we were to do any type of compensatory storage here, FEMA would not even review that part. They're only concerned about the fill.
Would it have been all along just easier and cheaper, and would it have been feasible to just do it instead of, because it seems like a lot of money and time. I know you've been working on this for a long time.
Yes.
I know this has been, I mean,
So the issue with just doing that type of compensatory storage is the requirements around that. The first requirement being the property, the subject property itself, and what is on that property. We have significant areas in the back where there are DEC wetlands. Trying to obtain additional DEC site disturbance and wetland permitting. We already had some just to allow the home to be built, a little bit of the buffer. But to access the back where we have an opportunity to potentially put the storage would require additional wetland disturbance, additional wetland mitigation. You know, those figures add up. That was one aspect of it. Just in general, the site disturbance and trying to limit the amount that we're disturbing on site. I don't recall offhand if I believe we're just under an acre, so we disturb over an acre, then we get into a SWIP program with New York State. And also the requirements for the compensatory storage, not just being a hole in the ground, but allowing that drainage to be able to flow in as well as flow out. That's where the real challenge occurs, because we need a deep enough channel, a deep enough water channel where we can essentially take some of that water, fill up our basin, and then after a storm event, that water level lowers and then it can flow out. It's not quite like digging a farm pond where you just say, I'm going to excavate from existing soils and that's it. It's a little bit more complicated than that, which makes it a little more challenging for us to meet those requirements.
okay. And I know from looking through this package, there had been a dumping permit, and I don't know if that was renewed, Matt, or you had a dumping permit, and I guess we're using it and we're putting fill there. And then another one was issued this year. Was that because, did it expire, the first permit?
Well, this was the crossroads that we had met for reviewing the fill permit for the process. I realized the compensatory storage was.
Okay. All right. I don't think I have no more questions. I don't think I have any more questions.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Monticelli?
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm sorry,
Oh,
I did have one more question. You mentioned in here there's an accessory structure. So somewhere in this package it talks about the residence and the accessory structure. What kind of accessory structure?
You're just a full barn garage?
Yeah, just with a garage.
Detached type garage?
Okay. It doesn't matter for now, but you know the size of it?
I don't, not offhand.
Okay.
I think 40 by 40, if that, somewhere in that area.
Okay. We may be seeing you again, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, that's
Yeah. Okay, all right. Good? Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Ms. Monticelli?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have no questions.
Okay, thank you. I got it right? Okay. Are there any questions or comments from the audience on this project? Yes, sir. Yeah. Come on up, please, and give your name and address for the record, please. You guys can just step aside for a second, please, so we can speak. Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Joshua Lundstrom. I'm the neighboring property. I don't have an address on the property. The 101 acres next to Bruce. Like they said, the overflow of the water is not coming from Genesee. It's coming from Elka Creek. So there's not going to be an issue with the receding. My only concern is if I want to build there in the future, is the floodplain going to change? Am I going to have to be doing the compensatory stuff, pulling it out of there? Or I just want to make sure, like the floodplain map that's changing, am I going to be impacted if I want to build on my property?
Matt, would you have an idea?
So the analysis showed that there was zero rise in the floodway. The portion of the lot that's being developed is going to be removed from the floodplain, and the analysis that was required to prove that showed that there was no change. So your parcel, base flood elevation is going to be where it's at right now.
Yeah.
When you propose your development, you'll be basically walking through the same process.
Same scenario, yeah.
But, it's local law requires the storage.
Yeah.
Based on the fill that you're going to be installed, or if you plan on removing the construction area out of the floodplain, or you can employ floodplain construction practice, elevation.
Yeah, that was just my main concern. Sure. Like what it's going to change as. So.
The analysis shows that it doesn't change.
Okay. All right. Yep, it's minuscule. Like they said, it comes from Ellicott Creek. Nothing's coming from over Genesee. We're in the same scenario. So appreciate your time.
Oh, thanks for your comments.
Sir, can you spell your name?
Yeah. JLSHLUNDSTRON.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Is there anyone else who'd like to speak on this project?
Matt, can I ask another question? If it's coming from the creek, then how come if I can't get onto it right now, but on JS, when I checked in the past, it seems like both sides of Genesee over there are 100-year. Where's it come from on the other side then?
It's a combination of a lot of things. It's surface runoff, and it's a naturally occurring event that the creek level rises at that location, and it mimics that map pretty accurately. I was able to document the storm event at the beginning of April this year. Genesee Street, for the most part, had a lot of water. Bowmansville was inundated.
Yeah.
Portions of Stony Road were overtopped. Over that place had water crossing the road. The map itself is pretty accurate. I don't believe it was a 1% event. I've not seen any documentation that it was a 1% event, but it was pretty significant.
Right.
We also have an extra 3 million gallons coming in from the quarry being pumped, but I don't know if it's 24 or part-time.
I don't think that has an effect on it. Again, Ellicott Creek is a very flat, slow-flowing streamway. And in that area, based on topography, has a very large area of wetland.
Is there a motion from the board?
I'll make the motion. Whereas the zoning board of appeals of the town of Lancaster has made the following findings, that this area variance for a single-family residence according to part 617.5 C17 of the New York State Code Rules and Regulations is a type 2 action and has been determined not to have a significant impact on the environment, therefore is not subject to a secret review. That no undesirable change will be provided in the character of the neighborhood by the granting of the area variance relief sought, because the petitioners provided engineering reports showing that there will not be a negative impact on floodplain. That no detriment to nearby properties will be created by the granting of the area variance relief sought. The same reason as provided earlier. That the benefits sought by the applicant cannot be achieved by some other method feasible for the applicant to pursue other than the area variance relief sought. That the requested area variance relief is not substantial. That the proposed area variance relief will not have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood or district. That the alleged difficulty is self-created but not to the extent necessary to preclude the granting of the area variance relief sought. That this board has taken into consideration the benefit to the applicants if the variance relief sought is granted as weighed against the detriment to the health, safety, and welfare of the neighborhood or community by such grant. That within the intent and purposes of this ordinance, the variance relief sought, if granted, is the minimum variance necessary to afford relief.
Okay. Motion by Mr. Mikely. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Zelak. Madam Clerk, when you're ready, the roll, please.
Mr. Gazzoni.
Yes.
Ms. Kreutzer.
Yes.
Mr. Mikely.
Yes.
Ms. Monticelli.
Yes.
Mr. Nowak.
Yes.
Mr. Zelak.
Yes.
Chairman Matthews.
Yes.
Thank you.
Your request is granted. Best of luck on the project, sir.
Thanks very much.
Okay, we are heading to 60 Nictor Road. Madam Clerk, when you're ready, the legal notice, please.
The sixth case considered by the Zoning Board of Appeals is that of the petition of Frank Domster, 60 Nictor Road, Lancaster, New York, for 2 variances for the purpose of constructing a residential accessory structure on premises owned by the petitioner at 60 Nictor Road, to wit: A variance from the requirements of Chapter 400 zoning, Section 14, subsection D, Schedule B of the Code of the Town of Lancaster. The request calls for constructing a 20-foot, 4-inch tall residential accessory structure. Chapter 400 zoning, Section 14, subsection D, Schedule B of the Code of the Town of Lancaster requires a maximum building height of 16 feet. The petitioner therefore requests a 4-foot, 4-inch variance. B, a variance from the requirements of Chapter 400 zoning, Section 14, subsection D, Schedule B of the Code of the Town of Lancaster. The request calls for constructing a 1,560 square foot residential accessory structure. Chapter 400 zoning, Section 14, subsection D, Schedule B of the Code of the Town of Lancaster requires a maximum accessory structure size of 750 square feet. The petitioner therefore requests an 810 square foot variance.
Okay, thank you, Madam Clerk. Can you please give your name and address for the record, please?
Yes, good evening. My name is Frank Domster. I'm at 60 Nictor Street in Lancaster.
Tell us about your project.
Sure. I mean, that's quite a presentation to follow, so I hope this is much more simple. My wife and I are looking to build a garage, partly for storage. We have a very active lifestyle. We are active hikers, campers, outdoors. We also enjoy motorcycles, bicycles, and all this comes with a lot of equipment. We're actually new to this town, though I grew up in South Towns in East Aurora in Holland. When we bought our house is quite a bit older than all the rest of the houses on our road, and we don't even, some of our closets are barely big enough to reach into. So storage in our house for some of this equipment is difficult. Like kayak, we're not going to have a kayak in the house. We also don't want it outside. I'm also a car enthusiast. I race. I have a couple national titles. It's something I want to continue, and as well as classic cars. So the size variance, the garage that we're proposing is going to go into a spot that one garage is already set. So we're removing that one. There's also a small shed that is also rather small, kind of matches our closets in the house. We want to remove both that shed and the garage to put up this larger garage. It meets our size requirements and what I would look forward to when working on cars, storing cars, especially classic cars that we already have. We're also looking at a camper, which kind of matches our neighbors as well. We want to keep all that stuff inside, just out of the elements and out of the view of the street, the aesthetics of the property. So coming to this, we first met with our neighbors. Andrew is the immediate one to the west side of our house. He's actually wanted to come with me today, though his kids, one of two of 6 of his kids have a sporting event today. He wasn't able to come with. He wanted to help and say to approve it. He's going to be the one that sees it the most. It's right outside his bedroom window. And I of course asked if I can mention it. He said yes. The neighbors to the east side, Larry actually offered to help build it when it comes time. Across the street, Deb, her concerns were aesthetics. She was worried about me putting it right in front of the road for everyone to see in some giant building, and where I explained that it's going to actually replace a garage that's much older, doesn't fit our needs. It was settled right there. She was fine with that. Ross, next door to her, brought up that I would start a business of some sort, explaining it's a residential property, it's accessory building. We are not opening a business of any sort. That took away from that. There actually is one more person, John. There's Springway? I have it written down here somewhere. Springway, it's the HOA that's on Nictor Road. Our property doesn't butt up to any of their properties, but it's within a few hundred yards of the pond that they are next to. He was worried about runoff and if it would affect the pond or any of their properties at all. The way that the water that does run goes away from their pond, and obviously we're not changing anything in the property that would change runoff. So his concerns were gone. Basically, that's it. My concerns with, or my thoughts in this were, there's already two very small garages on the property. I didn't want to add a third one. That would be kind of the alternative. It doesn't really, space-wise, size-wise, for me to work on some of these cars. My truck doesn't even fit in any of these garages. I was looking to make it something a little bit better, and keeping with the aesthetics of the property and the surrounding areas. It's going to match the house. It's going to line up with the house. It'll all look a lot better than adding a fourth accessory building on the property. So.
Appreciate you reaching out to your neighbors.
Yeah. Well, I like them. I don't want to upset them.
Smart. Okay, I'm going to turn to the board for questions. Mr. Zelak.
Mr. Chair, Saban, good job on presentation, talking to your neighbors.
I've never done this before. I'm super nervous. So
you did fine. You're good.
You're doing fine.
Also, I've lost almost all of my hearing in the past year, so I have a new thing, and this is really echoing. So if I ask you, I'm probably leaning towards you. I can't really hear that well.
No worries. Your garage, is
Yes.
it going to have a lean-to? Is there?
Oh, yes. So that's the other thing I do in racing. I have an enclosed garage or enclosed trailer. There's a lean-to the side just to keep that off. I also have a very large family, and we do Thanksgivings, Christmas. Moving into the area, I've been out of the area for almost 30 years. Moving back to the area, we have regular gatherings. This lean-to would also give us some space, cover, place for picnic tables, grills, and whatnot. So,
Is the lean-to square footage included in this variance?
As part of this, yes, it's all in the same.
Because that does it is included.
Yep.
Thank you very much. No further questions.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Katsoni.
No questions. I like the placement of it behind the house. And actually, the one other neighbor that I happened to see outside when I drove by, Panzica's, Mike and Jennifer like it too, so they're good with it.
Okay. Oh, good. That's nice to hear.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Grutzer.
I guess the only question I have is whether or not, because it is quite a large structure, it's more than double what the code allows. Matt, do you have any concerns about just that piece of it? There's obviously a reason that we have that code, so.
The district permits a certain size, that's what prevents me from issuing the book.
Okay.
If I can speak to that?
Sure.
Looking at like buildings in the area, speaking even on my street, there are multiple that are there's two that are much larger than what I'm asking. One, it's almost twice as large. But there's many in the same area that are of like size. And then speaking to the double the size, I am taking one of those garage accessory buildings out and then adding what is almost the same size as adding that fourth one and making it one building instead.
I agree. No, it was just more for my own knowledge than anything, so that's all.
Awesome. Thank you. Mr. Mickley.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have no questions.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Monticelli.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It looks from the drawing like the new pole barn is going to have the same footprint to replace the existing garage and shed. Is that correct?
It's going to have the same, I'm sorry.
Footprint? It's in the exact same area?
Yes, so it's in the same, so it meets all other codes as far as like abutment to neighboring properties. Corners are all in the same spot, so it all meets the same as the existing property or buildings now.
Okay. All right. Welcome back to Lancaster.
Thank you.
Welcome to Lancaster.
Yeah,
by the
Western
way.
New York, I've missed this place for a very long time.
Where were you?
Well, I first moved to Chicago when I was 13, and then I moved out to Ithaca, an absolute random point at the map with a friend, and we moved there without knowing the place. I started a 20-year career there, which I just retired from, and I'm really happy about moving back close to family now.
That's great. That's great. I have a very old house myself built
I
in
love it.
1870. I love it too.
Oh, nice.
But there's no basement and there's no attic. And
No
the
basements in New
closets
York.
are just like yours. So
Excellent.
I can sympathize. Okay.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. And Mr. Nowak?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First, what kind of racing do you do?
Sports Car Club of America is SCCA. So it's like Pocono, Watkins Glen, Lime Rock, all courses, road courses like that.
And you said you're a...
So yeah, 2024 I had a Northeast Division Championship. So basically Northeast corner of the United States, all the way from Maine to Virginia, Ohio to the coast. It's one of 7 divisions in the U.S.
Very cool. I had no questions.
Thank you.
I'll talk about cars whenever you'd like.
That's great.
Are there any questions or comments from the audience? Okay, is there a motion from anybody on the board?
I will make a motion.
Okay, motion by Ms. Monticelli.
Okay, now I've lost my place. Thanks. Oh, I have
Okay.
one. I'm just looking for the...
Sure.
I was looking at the picture. Anyways. Okay, whereas the Zoning Board of Appeals of the Town of Lancaster has made the following findings, that this area variance for a single-family residence, according to Part 617.5, C17 of the New York State Codes, Rules, and Regulations, is a Type 2 action and has been determined not to have a significant impact on the environment. Therefore, it is not subject to a seeker review. That no undesirable change will be produced in the character of the neighborhood by the granting of the area variance relief sought, in that the requested pole barn size is not out of the ordinary for that area.
Thank you.
You're welcome. That no detriment to nearby properties will be created by the granting of the area variance relief sought, in that the proposed pole barn will take up the same space as the garage and shed that are there now and will be removed.
Thank you.
That the benefit sought by the applicant cannot be achieved by some other method feasible for the applicant to pursue other than the area variance relief sought, because the applicants own various property that will not fit in their current structures, and storing them in a larger pole barn is preferable to leaving them unstored and out in the elements.
Thank you.
You're welcome. That the area variance relief may seem substantial. However, it is the opinion of this board that it is not compared to other accessory structures that have been granted variances. That the proposed area variance relief will not have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood or district, that the alleged difficulty is self-created but not to the extent necessary to preclude granting of the area variance relief sought, that this board has taken into consideration the benefit to the applicants if the variance relief sought is granted, as weighed against the detriment to the health, safety, and welfare of the neighborhood or community by such grant. That within the intent and purposes of this ordinance, the variance relief sought, if granted, is the minimum variance necessary to afford relief. And that no commercial enterprise other than those permitted by Chapter 400 of the Code of the Town of Lancaster be conducted on the premises.
Motion by Ms. Monticelli. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Nowak got you by a hair there. Second by Mr. Nowak. Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Mr. Getsoni?
Yes.
Mr. Kreutzer? Ms. Kreutzer, sorry.
Yes.
Mr. Michaely?
Yes.
Ms. Monticelli?
Yes.
Mr. Nowak?
Yes.
Mr. Zeva?
Yes.
Chairman Matthews?
Yes. The request is granted.
Thank you.
Okay, we are going to head to 13 Hickory Lane. Madam Clerk, when you're ready, please read the local notice.
7 case considered by the zoning board of appeals is that of the petition of Kaylin and Eric Leon, 13 Hickory Lane, Lancaster, New York, for one variance for the purpose of installing a privacy fence on premises owned by the petitioners at 13 Hickory Lane, to wit, a variance from the requirements of Chapter 400 zoning section 34 subsection C of the Code of the Town of Lancaster. The request calls for installing a 54-inch tall privacy fence in a required yard setback. Chapter 400 zoning section 34 subsection C of the Code of the Town of Lancaster requires within non-industrial districts no fence or wall other than a necessary retaining wall over 3 feet in height shall extend into the front yard of any lot. The petitioners therefore request an 18-inch variance.
Thank you. Could I have your names and addresses for the record, please?
Yes, Eric Leone, 13 Hickory Lane.
Kaylin Leone, 13 Hickory Lane.
Why don't you tell us about your project, please?
Yes, thank you for the opportunity. So, as you can see, kind of from how our lot lays, it is considered a front yard, but for us, it really is, in all intents and purposes, our backyard. We live kind of on a bend on a pretty popular end where a lot of kids come, and like we're on like, it's not a dead end street, but it's a yet to be built finishing street. So we are looking to install a wrought iron fence, so it's actually not even going to be a full vinyl fence. We're doing that purposefully so that the neighbors can see when they get out of their driveway. Honestly, I think it would look kind of weird if we had a vinyl fence anyway. We're only looking to go up a foot, mostly for, again, we have a playground, a play set. At sometimes you'll go down our street, you'll probably see 12 to 15 kids on that play set. When it's not a playground, it's a doggy daycare, and usually it's both. So right now, we have to keep either the dogs on the leash, or we have to, put something in the ground, tether them to it when other dogs and kids are walking by. That way they don't run up to them. So we're just looking for the ability to have the parents be able to watch their kids, maybe not so much like a hawk, as well as the dogs to be able to be free. There's also a retention pond that is right behind the kitty corner to our house that's pretty easily accessible if you walk kind of right through that yard. So we're also looking to make sure everyone can stay safe and not go into that yard. Our neighbors very much are well aware of this. They would probably be here as well to cheer for it. So again, we can kind of sit down and just watch our kids and not have to worry about them.
They're in our yard just as much as we're in our yard.
Yes.
So
And they range from newborn up to 7 years old, so they can get up to a lot of no good. But again, you can kind of see from our property line how the houses are around us. It's a pretty easy gathering point. So once you see one kid outside, you're likely to see 15.
keep things out and keep other things in.
Sure.
That's the goal.
That's pretty straightforward to me. I'm going to turn over to the board this time. Back to Mr. Cazzoni.
No questions at all.
Yeah, Ms. Kreutzer?
No questions other than, not so much a question, but just that it is the aluminum open fence. Because I will say, with as sharp of a curve that is, if it was a privacy fence, I would definitely have concerns. So I don't know if anybody else has seen that. But I would be 100% fine with an open fence. If it was 10 feet tall, but I would say if it was a privacy, I would be.
Yeah, I think it's technically called aluminum fences.
Yeah,
what it is.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, the neighbors that would have that driveway, that was the best man and the maid of honor of our wedding, and their daughters are goddaughters, so we're definitely not trying to block any view of them
Yeah,
coming
no,
out of
I
their
just,
yard.
for the purposes of the board, I don't know, could that be like a stipulation that is put on it?
Well, isn't that what you're building, right?
Yeah.
Oh, does it actually say that?
Yeah,
I think when you read it, it said privacy fence, but I don't know if aluminum fence is considered privacy, but.
It doesn't say that in the, I think she hand wrote it in the notes, but it doesn't say it on here. It just says a fence.
Defer to Brad on that one. Should we put that as a condition?
It's 54 inches too.
That was I live in the older section of that neighborhood, so I know how very, very active it is, and it's only going to increase over time over there, so I get it. I understand your concerns. I would just be concerned for people.
Yeah. You're fine with that condition then? We put that in there?
100%, that's what we're-
54-inch aluminum
Yeah,
fence?
we're already doing aluminum, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
No, that's a tricky corner.
Yeah, it is.
It's a smart idea.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mickley?
I have no questions, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Monticelli?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have no questions either.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Nowak?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have no questions.
Okay, thank you, sir. Mr. Zelak?
Mr. Chair, I have no questions as well. Thank you.
Anyone from the audience want to comment on this project? Yes, sir.
I heard doggy daycare, these are for your dogs?
Well, one's a French bulldog. We're not worried about that one jumping the 3 feet fence so much, but there's a golden, there's a couple of mutts, and then there's.
I think he's asking for him.
No, well, these are neighborhood dogs, right? Not so much.
Oh, yeah.
Bring dogs in. you can-
Oh, I apologize. Yes, there are neighbors' dogs that come over. Yeah.
That's taking notes.
He's taking notes.
Checking, doing the job.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
On that note, is there a motion from anyone on the board?
I'll make a motion.
You want to make that motion? Okay.
Sure.
Motion by Ms. Cruiser.
Okay, whereas the zoning board of appeals of the town of Lancaster has made the following findings. That this area variance for single-family residence, according to part 617.5C17 of the New York State Code Rules and Regulations, is a type 2 action and has been determined not to have a significant impact on the environment, therefore is not subject to a secret review. That no undesirable change will be produced in the character of the neighborhood by the granting of the area variance relief sought, as it is in common type of fence in the neighborhood. That no detriment to nearby properties will be created by the granting of the area variance relief sought, being an open fence that will not restrict any visibility.
Can I have you hold,
I'm
because
so
I'm
sorry.
trying to write.
I still know what this
I'm
part
still on the back, as it is a common type of fence in the neighborhood, or the one before?
Yes.
Okay, and no detriment.
No detriment. Because as being an open fence, it will not restrict any visibility for safety purposes.
Thank you.
That the benefit sought by the applicant cannot be achieved by some other method feasible for the applicants to pursue other than the area variance relief sought. That the area variance relief sought is not substantial. That the proposed area variance relief will not have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions of the neighborhood or district. That the alleged difficulty is self-created, but not to the extent necessary to preclude the granting of the area variance relief sought. That this board has taken into consideration the benefit to the applicants if the variance relief sought is granted as weighted against the detriment to the health, safety, and welfare of the neighborhood or community by such grant. That within the intent and purposes of this ordinance, the variance relief sought, if granted, is the minimum variance necessary to afford relief. That the fence will not unduly shut out light or air to adjoining properties. And that such fence will not create a fire hazard by reason of its construction or location.
You'd like to add on that condition?
With the condition being that it is an open fence, not a privacy fence.
Got it.
Is that good lingo, Brad?
Yeah. I'll second.
You guys are good with that? Good. Okay. Motion by Ms. Kreutzer, second by Mr. Mickley. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Mr. Getsoni?
Yes.
Ms. Kreutzer?
Yes.
Mr. Mickley?
Yes.
Ms. Monticelli?
Yes.
Mr. Nowak?
Yes.
Mr. Zelik?
Yes.
Chairman Matthews?
Yes. The request is granted. When can I bring my one-year-old over?
Please don't.
The whole neighborhood
His dog.
We got enough.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Okay, we are going ahead now to 149 Ransom Road. Madam Clerk, when you're ready, the legal notice, please.
The eighth case considered by the Zoning Board of Appeals is that of the petition of Matt Marini, Custom Builders of Western New York, Bryce Road and Elma, for 2 variances for the purpose of constructing a residential accessory structure on premises owned by Hibish 2022 Revocable Trust at 149 Ransom Road, New York, to wit. A, a variance from the requirements of Chapter 400 zoning, Section 13, subsection C, Schedule B of the Code of the Town of Lancaster. The request calls for constructing an 18-foot tall residential accessory structure. Chapter 400 zoning, Section 13, subsection C, Schedule B of the Code of the Town of Lancaster requires a maximum building height of 16 feet. The petitioner therefore requests a 2-foot variance. B, a variance for the requirements of Chapter 400 zoning, Section 13, subsection C, Schedule B of the Code of the Town of Lancaster. The request calls for constructing a 1,600 square foot residential accessory structure. Chapter 400 zoning, Section 13, subsection C, Schedule B of the Code of the Town of Lancaster requires a maximum accessory structure of 1,250 square feet. The petitioner therefore requests a 350 square foot variance.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We have your name and address for the record, please.
So my name's Matthew Marini. Address personal or business? I'm here as a representative.
You're on behalf of the applicant?
Yes.
Okay.
So our business address, 1036 Rice Road, Elma, New York, Custom Builders of Western New York.
Tell us about the project, please.
Okay, so this is a new home construction site, new single-family residential site, an 8-acre site. We've got a 1,900 square foot ranch on the property that is basically at completion. Matt's going to be coming by, or Rob's going to be coming by for final home inspection. Our next step would be to pull permit for the pole barn. It's a 40 by 40 pole barn, and 10 feet of that 40 is a lean-to. The idea of this being it's been designed to complement the home, the roof line being a straight gable roof line and not having to have a break in the truss line to create that lean-to. So really, 1,200 square feet of this is internal storage, 400 square feet of this is a lean-to. Coming from the property that they're in now in Elma, we have multiple accessory structures that they're consolidating down from. So without this variance, we would be looking to then build multiple accessory structures on the site, which is just going to add an extra cost to what they're doing. This is a retirement property. They're downsizing from a much larger property. So that's the basis of that. The height is just the roof line layout and the size being the lean-to. They've got a couple extra vehicles to store lawn and garden equipment, and then an enclosed trailer, which most of the time would be in the lean-to along with some patio equipment.
Thank you. I'm going to turn over to the board for questions, starting with Ms. Kreutzer this time.
No questions.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Mickley.
Thank you, I have no questions.
Thank you. Ms. Monticelli.
Thank you. It's a beautiful house. It's really striking. Will the pole barn be the same color siding?
Yes, so we're going to have a black wainscoting going around up to the windowsill, all the way around the garage, and then gray siding, metal siding going up to their black roof on it. It's going to complement the house very well.
Okay. Very nice. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Nowak.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have no questions.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Zelat.
Mr. Chair, I have no questions as well. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Back to you, Mr. Katsoni.
None, thank you.
Any questions or comments from the audience? Is there a motion from the board?
I'll do it.
You want to do this one? Okay.
Whereas the Zoning Board of Appeals of the Town of Lancaster has made the following findings. That this area variance for a single-family residence according to Part 617.5 C17 of the New York State Codes, Rules, and Regulations is a Type 2 action and has been determined not to have significant impact on the environment. Therefore, it is not subject to a seeker review. That no undesirable change will be provided in the character of the neighborhood by the granting of the area variance relief sought, because the proposed pole barn is not out of the ordinary in size for this rural area and will be aesthetically pleasing since it will match the newly constructed home.
Thank you.
That no detriment to nearby properties will be created by the granting of the area variance relief sought. That the benefit sought by the applicant cannot be achieved by some other method feasible for the applicant to pursue other than the area variance relief sought. as in order to achieve the applicant's purpose for storage, the only alternative would be to build multiple structures.
Thank you.
You're welcome. That while the requested area variance relief may appear substantial, it is not out of the ordinary for similar accessory structures in the town of Lancaster. That the proposed area variance relief will not have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood or district. That the alleged difficulty is self-created, but not to the extent necessary to preclude the granting of the area variance relief sought. That this board has taken into consideration the benefit to the applicants if the variance relief sought is granted, as weighed against the detriment to the health, safety, and welfare of the neighborhood or community by such grant. That within the intent and purposes of this ordinance, the variance relief sought, if granted, is the minimum variance necessary to afford relief. That no commercial enterprise other than those permitted by Chapter 400 of the Code of the Town of Lancaster be conducted on the premises.
Motion by Ms. Monticelli, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Kreutzer. Madam Clerk, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Gazzoni?
Yes.
Ms. Kreutzer?
Yes.
Mr. Michaeli?
Yes.
Ms. Monticelli?
Yes.
Mr. Nowak?
Yes.
Mr. Zelag?
Yes.
Chairman Matthews?
Yes. All right, you guys are all set?
Thank you, everyone.
No problem. Hey, drop your pen. Have a good day.
See you, man. Yeah. Great to see you.
All right, thanks for your patience, everybody. We're getting there. Our next case is 72 Michael's Walk. Madam Clerk, when you're ready, please read the legal notice.
The ninth case considered by the Zoning Board of Appeals is that of the petition of Allison Hogan and Stephen Romance, 360 Aurora Street, Lancaster, New York, for one variance for the purpose of installing a privacy fence in a required front yard on premises owned by Carlo Dorenzo at 72 Michael's Walk, to wit, a variance for the requirements of Chapter 400 zoning section 34 subsection C of the Code of the Town of Lancaster. The request calls for installing a 6-foot tall privacy fence in a required front yard. Chapter 400 zoning section 34 subsection C of the Code of the Town of Lancaster requires within non-industrial districts no fence or wall other than a necessary retaining wall over 3 feet in height shall extend into the front yard of any lot. Petitioners therefore request a 3-foot variance.
Okay, thank you. Can we have your names and addresses for the record, please?
Allison Hogan, 360 Aurora Street, Lancaster, New York.
Stephen Romance, 360 Aurora Street, Lancaster.
Okay, why don't you please tell us about your project?
So we are currently under contract to purchase 72 Michael's Walk. The sale of this home is contingent upon the approval of this variance to put in a fence. So we have not moved into the neighborhood yet and are seeking the variance prior to closing on sale. So we just want to start off by saying we want to get off on a good foot in the neighborhood. We want to respectfully join this community and hear any concerns that neighbors may have. We're seeking the 3-foot variance for a privacy fence. This is a corner lot. If you walked or drove by, you can see the backyard of this property is very exposed to the Candlestick Court area. We have some photos for reference if you'd like. Just for enjoyment of our backyard, we're seeking a privacy fence just so that people driving, walking down Candlestick, we're not constantly looking at, making eye contact with. We also have a dog. We feel that a 3-foot fence would not appropriately contain dogs coming into our yard or our dog's ability to leave our yard, which is why we're looking for the height as well. And as well as security of belongings in the backyard with a 3-foot fence. If we have any like umbrellas, grills, any of our property in the backyard could be easily accessible with a fence that's about 3 feet. We feel like a 6-foot fence is pretty common for residential areas for a privacy fence. And I know that the corner lot kind of makes a unique situation. Even tonight, we've heard a couple variances for requesting the privacy that a corner lot doesn't afford without it, that interior lots traditionally have. We did speak with a few of the neighbors. Just because we don't live there yet, it was a little bit difficult of how to go about it. First, we weren't sure if this was permitted or if it was kind of against the rules to do so, but we wanted to make sure by talking to the neighbors of who would be within the premises. The neighbors directly to the right of the property, 68 Michael's Walk, they already have a 6-foot vinyl fence, and they are okay with this being erected. And they said kind of we can come as close to theirs as possible. The neighbor across the street is actually an old coworker of Steve's and kind of reached out through the grapevine to say that they're fine with it, and they would be the neighbor that is looking directly at it. The neighbor behind the property on the Candlestick side did express some concerns to us that I spoke with them before, and I do know that they're here to express those concerns as well. Some things that they mentioned to me were concern about backing out of their driveway. On the corner that faces their driveway, as well as Candlestick Court, in our drawings, we wanted to put a 45-degree angle there to maintain visibility through their backyard. And then after speaking with them is when we created the additional drawings to give to the board of if they have concerns and the 45 degree is not appropriate, we could bring the fence even further back from the road into the property to maintain those sight lines. There is currently a shed along the Candlestick Court area that initially our suggested diagram had the fence about 5 feet back from the property, with options coming further in, with ultimately one being in line with the shed. With being in line with the shed and a 45-degree angle, we feel that that's not changing any current sight lines from the driveway out into Candlestick Court. We feel so with that, it doesn't create a safety issue by maintaining the sight lines that currently exist on the property. As far as the intersection of Michael's Walk and Candlestick, the fence itself would be about 50 feet, if not further back from Michael's Walk. So the sight line is almost unaffected from the Michael's Walk and Candlestick Court intersection. There's also with that area would still be like ample green space at the entry of the cul-de-sac with being so far back from the property line, which we have some images as well standing at where the fence would be to see what the entrance to the cul-de-sac would still, look like. So as the 6-foot fence and privacy fence is still important to us, but we want to compromise with the neighbors to ensure that their concerns are heard and it doesn't impact them as well. We feel that this is important to, this is what we think is going to be our long-term home and would create the backyard to be a usable, enjoyable space. So thank you for your consideration of this matter.
I guess my question or comment is maybe directed towards Matt, because you're here for a height variance, right? For a 60?
Yes.
So the positioning isn't really something we're judging.
So the positioning, we more were just to create, if there were concerns about safety and sightline, that's where the positioning comes in. There is also a utility and sewage easement on that side, which is also why I know that you guys wouldn't comment on that, but we understand that going into this. We just thought we would request the furthest distance in case it's better to be on one side of the utility easement or the other, that we didn't want to request a spot that was too far in and be safer to go back out after the fact.
I mean, I guess what I'm trying to say from this board's perspective, we're just deciding on the height variance. In theory, you could place that fence whenever, but you might want to be considerate of your neighbor, of course.
Correct.
Am I wrong on that, Matt?
And typically, considering that height and with the sight lines, it's often been a meeting place, 45 corner, just to allow for that sight line to drive. It's considerate. It's a public safety issue for us.
Okay.
So we, an item to consider when we're ready.
It could be a stipulation of.
You could put conditions on.
A distance stipulation. You're right, it is the height, we're not placement, it's just the height.
But they provided 3 proposals. Placement's kind of their issue. That's kind of what I'm trying to, okay.
Yeah, that was just to address any concerns that neighbors may have.
No, I mean, yeah, that's smart. Okay, I'm going to turn over to the rest of the board for questions, this time with Mr. Mike Lee.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So we get applications for these often, as you've probably seen from tonight, and they're often approved, but we always look at it for safety, being the number one issue, and sometimes it's safety, as was said earlier, at a street corner, and sometimes it's just safety and a nuisance from somebody backing out of a driveway. And here, sometimes when these come about, there's clearly no issue with anyone. This one clearly, I can see where the issue comes from, because it's going to go right up to their property. So it's good that you gave different options here, but could you just, for me, explain these? So you have the option here as a 5 feet, they all have the 45-degree angle.
Correct.
At the, I don't know if that's north, or whatever corner that is, at that corner. Then it says, is that measurement taken from the, where is this 5 feet, 8 feet, and 11 feet from?
So that is measuring, oh, sorry. That's measuring from the property line, and on this property, it is the inside line of the sidewalk.
So you would, in other words, with this one, you'd lose 3 feet of yard space, and you'd lose 6 feet of yard space with
Correct.
the 8.
Correct.
And
But as far as the sight line, it still has the grass, and then sidewalk, and then the footage that we're mentioning.
Grass, sidewalk, foot. So when you say side, so how far from the sidewalk would each one of these have been? Would 5 feet be at the sidewalk?
No, 5 feet is 5 feet in
5
from
feet
the
from the
sidewalk.
sidewalk, and 8 feet from the sidewalk, and 11
Correct.
feet from the sidewalk.
Correct.
But is that going down the entire length of Candlestick?
It is going about halfway down
Yeah.
the house.
I have some renderings to show what this may look like.
Is this, because this is what I'm looking at.
Yes.
But with these, I see that it says 5 feet and there's arrows, but it looks like it's the same place through the shed.
It's just a number on the map.
It's a rough.
Those numbers are,
Okay,
It wasn't-
so you would, but either way, even with the 11 feet from the sidewalk, you'd still have the shed on your side of the property.
Correct. 11 feet
Inside our
would,
yard.
Inside the fence.
yeah, 11 feet would be kind of in line with the back of the shed.
Okay,
Like include the shed within the fence line.
all right.
This, I have some photos if you'd each like, or a larger photo of, this is not perfect, it was computer generated, so a little difficult to include all the specifications, but that photo does not include the 45, which we intend to put in, but just kind of a reference of what that may look like on the Candlestick side.
Okay.
They're all the same if you,
Oh, they're all the same.
yep,
Yeah, it was
yep,
just
just for each.
I did the same thing.
Oh, this is one picture here?
Yeah, well, we could do that too, yeah.
You have the chair. Great. So this is which one? 5 feet, this
That's
is,
about 5 feet, yes.
wow, well, it looks good. But this one goes almost to the shed anyway, so this is,
Yeah.
okay.
That's just a
You'd be
rough
happy, you'd be
estimate.
happy with it going to the shed? So if you look at this, because no matter where you put it, that shed space is kind of, whatever's behind the shed would be kind of lost space anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So you seem like you'd be happy with the fence going to the shed and then doing 45 degrees?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, if it could go 5 feet, like, that'd be great, but also we're trying to compromise as well.
Okay. So this, nice like this.
Any other questions?
No, so far, all right, I'm done.
You're good, no, you're good. Thank you, Mr. Mickley. Ms. Monticelli?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have no questions.
Thank you. Mr. Nowak?
thank you, Mr. Chair. So the one question that I had in regards to the 11 feet, so you said that the back of the shed would more or less be the fence line? You wouldn't extend the fence?
No, it would be
Along the back.
fence line, shed.
Gotcha.
fence
Okay.
line.
Okay, I have no further questions.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Zelak?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Excellent job. It's really nice that you guys are going to negotiate not your variance which you're here for, but to move the fence for your neighbors. You are aware that the easement's there. I know you're not in the house as of yet, but if something were to come through utility-wise, it is on the homeowners, on your own finances to remove it, so utilities can come through. Okay. I have no further questions. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Gazzoni?
I have no questions.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Kritzer?
The only question I have is probably more for Matt, but are there any issues with the fence being a certain distance from the shed? Are there any requirements or issues? Okay. That's all.
Okay. Would anyone from the public like to speak on this project? Come on up. Step aside. Come on up. Give your name and address for the record.
My name is Fred Samato, live at 4 Candlestick Court. The house pretty much behind the new proposed owners. And I had prepared a letter that I handed in yesterday. I made copies, if I can handle the copies. Did you
Of course.
already did that?
No, because you said you were going to.
Yes. So I have copies of the petition letter that I sent over yesterday. See our concerns.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
First, I'd like to thank you for having us here. As I said, my name is Fred Samato. My wife Nina is here because we want to formally object the variance requested for the proposed 6-foot fence made by the new owners of 72 Michael's Walk. Each of you are being provided with a copy of the letter submitted to the town clerk, Stan Terranova. Attached to the letter is a copy of a petition signed by some of the neighbors and the property layout, which I have highlighted some areas that show the blind area in the spots that we will be faced with should a 6-foot fence be allowed to be built in the area shown on the drawing. The first and most important issue we face is that our view of the sidewalk, street and corner, both on Candlestick and Michael's Walk, will be almost completely blocked. The reaction time for anyone exiting our driveway will be extremely limited. As stated in a letter to the town board, children gather daily at the bus stop at the corner of Michael's Walk and Candlestick, some of them walking past our driveway both to and from the bus stop. Children riding bicycles, tricycles, running up and down the sidewalk. A 6-foot fence will make it impossible for vehicles exiting our property to react and stop in time for a child running or on a bike. Also, local residents use the sidewalks that will be blocked by a 6-foot fence. They use it to jog, run, walk, again, making it too late to react. Leashed dogs often walk a few feet ahead of their owners. An existing vehicle will hit the pet before ever seeing the owner walk past the solid fence. The request made by the new owners of the property violates the front yard height limits set forth in your Town Code, Chapter 400, Section 34, subsection C of the Town of Lancaster zoning code. You have read the code, so I don't need to repeat it. So this will be a violation of the code. An extreme 3-foot variance will also fundamentally change the character of our street and neighborhood. It will also set a precedent for future owners of corner lot properties in the town of Lancaster to request the same variance and multiply the unsafe effects for the whole area, not to mention the effects we'll have on property values. We therefore ask for the board to deny this variance request with all due respect to the new owners. I understand that they have presented new drawings, which we were not aware of. We had a brief chance to talk to one of the owners, and she said she was willing to make some compromises, but we don't know what the compromises are. We don't know what it looks like. As you see on the drawing, we've been there 25 years. I can clearly see art.
You can have my copy.
No, I have it.
Oh, you have it?
Yeah, I have another copy. I mean, I just want to make sure that you could see the highlighted yellow area where we wouldn't be able to see the sidewalk, the street, or the corner. We've been there 25 years. We had a pretty clear view of anybody walking down the street from the corner, anybody turning from Michael's Walk onto Candlestick Court from either direction. We have Mr. Mario Andretti that lives in the corner of our cul-de-sac that comes around speeding at that corner all the time. We wouldn't be able to see him until he's on top of my car. And the children are a big, big concern because there's quite a few of them in the neighborhood. There's some that walk to the bus stop, and then there's the little ones that play on their tricycles and bicycles. And that was really the biggest concern that we have. Aesthetics of it, obviously, it's going to affect the neighborhood. We don't know how people will react coming to our neighborhood. We've had 6 or 7 new neighbors move in the past 25 years. We're friends with everyone. We would like to welcome the new owners to the neighborhood, but this is creating a problem for us and many sleepless nights thinking about this meeting.
Thank you.
No, thank you for listening.
Is there anyone else from the audience who'd like to speak? Any other questions from the board?
Can we give them a picture of the AI generated so we can physically see pictures?
There you go. I have it right here. Yeah, so basically this
Just.
Let's see. Yeah, so.
I'm sorry, sir. I would just note that the petitioner has said that this was generated before they thought about doing a 45-degree angle.
Yes.
So that shows everything as being at 90-degree angle, and that's not the final proposal.
Well, if you look at this picture, you'll see the garage behind the fence. That's basically our view for the street, the sidewalk, the corner, and this would have the same exact effect that I listed on the letter. The 45-degree angle, I'm not quite sure where that 45-degree angle will come into play, but I will still not be able to see the sidewalk until I back up into the sidewalk and hit somebody. That's really, this drawing is basically the same drawing that we saw on the proposed plan to begin with. It didn't change anything.
You said you've seen there are 3 different options as far as.
I'm only seeing this one.
Okay, so
He's got it.
He's got a copy of the.
Right, so this one here is giving you, this is off the inside edge of the sidewalk. The first one they would like is 5 feet, and then.
This will give us probably about 3 feet more view from the end of my driveway right to the side.
That's at 5 feet.
It's not really going to change.
They're also proposing 11 feet, so it's more than double the 5. So you're going to have 11 feet from the other side of the sidewalk to look to see all the way down the street.
Would you like to come and see this too? Because
So if you can,
debating.
sure, if you can.
We don't mind compromise. I'm really worried and concerned for our other neighbors.
Right, yeah, rightfully so. That's why you're here. Absolutely. But they're willing to go almost up to their shed. You can see the back of their shed that's there, or the previous owner's shed. That's where they're basically willing to go to as far as moving their fence all the way back. And
But this will be 6 feet.
this is 11 feet from the
It's still a
sidewalk.
6-foot fence.
Yes.
It's still a 6-foot fence, which will block any view. And dogs, children, no matter how you look at it, I'm pulling out of my driveway. It's not until I get here, the back of the car onto the sidewalk, that I will be able to see this minor part of the sidewalk.
Okay. All right, I just want to make sure you understood.
I still would not have a clear view of the corner, cars coming. By the time a car comes around the corner from here to here, take them about 4 seconds to hit that car.
Okay.
Or for me to hit that.
Sure. Okay, as long as you understand that they're
Yeah.
trying to make it happen on their.
No, I understand, and I wouldn't mind having a copy of it just to review.
You can have this one. You can take this one.
Because for us to have an approval of the board and still not address our concern or resolve our concern, it's not good enough. And if anything happens, a little accident, God forbid, I would have to hold the town and all of you responsible for it because I presented my case just like they did. And if it's contingent sale on the fence, maybe it should have been considered before, and we should have been shown different proposals before we came to this meeting tonight.
Okay.
You know, having these choices now at the last minute, I don't have a chance to review, to think about it, to see what it will look like, measuring, you know, we have 2 cars, there's people coming in and out of our house all the time, our children, our relatives. They're not as careful as I am pulling out of the driveway.
Sure.
And we could have a major problem.
Okay.
But I'd like to thank you for listening.
No, thank
to
you.
us.
Would anyone else like to speak on this project? Okay, would our petitioner, would you guys want to make a decision? We have another case we can go through if you guys want to talk first.
No, she was asking questions about.
Okay, we just want to, if you guys are working something out, I don't want to.
No, that's okay. She was just asking us supplemental questions. We have a diagram here that shows, do you want to see? Sorry about that. So the vertical line is about the distance of a car length. Okay. And then
Up the driveway.
in Dining Room's driveway. And then this demonstrates a sight line to Candlestick. So
The first dot up the driveway is 15 feet off the driveway. So the average car length is about 12 to 15 feet. So that'd be like the front bumper in rough estimate. And then the sight line is where you'd be able to see the corner from, and the fence wouldn't obstruct that view.
And this is based off 5 feet, 8 feet, 11?
This is based off 11.
Off the 11, the full 11,
Yep.
okay.
Yeah, the full 11. Sorry.
Okay.
Because it would incorporate the shed in the line, so the sight line would not be disrupted.
Any more comments or questions from board members?
Can I ask a
Yep.
question?
Yeah, Mr. Michael.
Matt, can I ask a question to you? For their rear yard, the one that abuts the neighbors, would they need a variance to, to put a 6-foot fence there, would they even need a variance?
35 feet from the property line that parallels Candlestick. 6-foot fence would have to end at 35 feet.
35 feet from the property line. Okay.
Candlestick, yeah.
That's what's considered a required yard setback.
35 feet from the property line, okay.
So
It'd be
that-
a variance on 3 sides, kind of like a U shape.
That's what I'm saying, is the variance really required just for 3 sides and not
The
for
variance
4?
you're considering is the height of the fence within that required yard.
Right. So where that 35 feet you just mentioned, where would that take us to? Because what I'm getting at is there's a possibility somebody could put up a 6-foot fence here and not even need a variance.
I would have to say, with the equivalent of the front yard setback of that property on Candlestick, on Fort Candlestick, that's approximately 35 feet from the property line.
What is, say that part again, what is 35 feet from the property line?
The front yard of Fort Candlestick
Yeah.
is approximately 35 feet from the property line. Their front property line will equate that to the side property line that
So,
we're seeking.
so in theory, if they were to, if a variance was denied, they'd still be able to put up a 6-foot
A
fence?
6-foot fence, but it need, the distance from that property line would need to be 35 feet. And then it would have to drop down to 3-foot tall.
Any other comments or questions from the board?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Chairman, I do have a question. Would you consider, rather than a privacy fence, a fence that has visibility through it?
Unfortunately, that is not something that we're interested in. Just based on how the yard is positioned within the cul-de-sac, from the sidewalk along Candlestick and across the road, and from the neighbor's driveway, and even down the cul-de-sac, you can see very clearly into the backyard and even into the house. So we have some photos here as well. These are not all the same, so these are different ones.
Thank you.
But just from different points of Candlestick, the yard is very much visible, and even you can see dining room chairs very clearly. So we feel like a privacy fence is really necessary for appropriate use of the backyard.
Any other questions or comments from board members?
I just have a comment.
Yes, sir.
that, The petition proposing, only 3 of these addresses are actually on their list.
Yeah.
So the other ones that are on there aren't even close to this property.
Yeah, I noticed that as well.
Say again, but there were,
On the opposing petition, only 3 of these addresses are the ones that are on the actual variance.
Would we be able to get a copy of that?
There are people that live in the cul-de-sac, they have children, they have kids that walk the bus stop. Same as the people in Michael's, they have dogs, they walk the dogs. There's Karen, who lives on the corner, with 3 dogs, and that's to the beach. So I got signatures from people that were directly impacted.
Yeah, I'm sorry, sir, we can't have a back and forth meeting.
Well,
But yeah. Okay, any more questions or comments from the board? Okay, is there a motion from the board? Anybody?
I'm actually reviewing these photos.
Okay, let me give you a second. The next meeting?
Oh, you want to? Yeah, partial table.
Okay. Motion at table? Okay. I'm gonna make a motion to table this for decision at our next meeting.
Okay.
Okay. Is there a second?
Okay, who motion?
I made the motion to table. We need some time to think on this one, obviously, because there's a little hesitation on decision
Cut
there.
and dry.
Okay.
Yep.
That's okay.
So your purchase is contingent.
We're supposed to close next Friday.
Oh, okay.
Yes, so,
Hold on. Okay, that's a different,
Can we ask one question to Matt?
that's a different thing. Okay.
Is the adjoining property, is there any variances or anything that have been applied for that?
None that I'm aware of.
Okay. And when the shed went in, was there one for that?
There was.
Okay.
For
The
this,
shed. Well, it's in the line of sight, but I bring that footprint.
Can I make a recommendation?
Sure.
To assist with the discrepancies here. Again, a 6-foot fence is as of right along that boundary line, running north and south between Fort Candlestick and 72 Michael's Walk, at point 35 feet from that front property line. I really don't, there is a significant compromise, but it's a compromise in and of itself. So from that point, 35 feet back on the property line, to the northwest corner of the existing shed that's already 8 feet tall. It's the tip of the yard is not enclosed in the privacy area, but it provides a significant site triangle per se from the adjoining driveway, which is the point of contention. It's one of the considerations you need to make with a 6-foot tall fence in these yard areas is the public safety factor. I don't know if that's something that's acceptable. Again, as of right today, we can walk out with a building permit, 6-foot fence, 35 feet from that front property line. Just that from that point, angling towards that northwest corner of the shed may be a good middle ground, because we're not inhibiting the existing sight line that's there today.
You'd be willing to accept a condition that it would be 11 feet from the property line?
Yes.
I'm okay
And
with that.
45-degree angle?
Yes.
Can I rescind my motion to table, Brad? Is that-
Yeah.
Because you didn't vote on it.
We did not vote, okay, I just want to make sure, because
Yeah, if there's anyone that has concerns about the angle coming out of the driveway, there is a property, this is in the neighborhood adjacent to this development, do you want to give them the photos, that has, it's a very similar layout to what we're looking at, and they are even maybe inches off the sidewalk, with a 45 very close to the next driveway.
Yeah. The unfortunate thing is that neighbor probably agrees with it.
Just showing
Yeah.
Just
I-
things we've seen.
There are a few issues here. There's a safety issue, there's a safety from the driveway. The whole neighborhood issue, I don't necessarily agree with it being an issue, because it does happen. We don't all have a right to have the view that's given to us by our neighbors. By the same token, you're going to be, if this was to go through and you move in here, you want to start off on a good foot with your neighbors. I get why people aren't happy about it.
I guess I have two questions. Is the fence, I know it's vinyl, is it shadow box? Is it solid straight wall? The shadow box would be like your fence would stagger back and forth.
Solid.
It would be solid.
Okay, I'm prepared to make a motion unless anybody has any questions or concerns. Okay. Whereas the Zoning Board of Appeals of the Town of Lancaster has made the following findings. That this area variance for a single-family residence according to Part 617.5C17 of the New York State Codes, Rules, and Regulations is a Type 2 action and has been determined not to have a significant impact on the environment. Therefore, it is not subject to a secret review. That no undesirable change will be produced in the character of the neighborhood by the granting of the area variance relief sought due to similar fences in the neighborhood.
Thank you.
That no detriment to nearby properties will be created by the granting of the area variance relief sought due to further conditions I'm going to lay out. Is that a good way to say that? Okay.
Is it okay to make one comment? For, if the stipulation of the 45 is just going to be in writing, just for structural integrity, would it be okay to have like a very, very, like a narrow area that is with the shed on both sides, just so that you're not coming at the shed of a very steep angle? It would still maintain the same sight line, but just to have fence in line with the shed on both sides versus a direct corner, like just maybe like 2 feet so that you're coming. Do you understand what I'm saying?
The suggestion that that I'm proposing, at least, I'm not sure how everyone's going to vote, but what I'm going to propose is your Plan C.
Okay.
That's okay.
Okay, yes, that's.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, make sure we're on the same page, right? Is that what you're suggesting as well?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, where was I? That the benefit sought by the applicant cannot be achieved by some other method feasible for the applicant to pursue other than the area variance relief sought due to open sight lines to the street.
Thank you.
That the requested area variance relief is not substantial. That the proposed area variance relief will not have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood or district. That the alleged difficulty is self-created, but not to the extent necessary to preclude the granting of the area variance relief sought. That this board has taken into consideration the benefit to the applicants if the variance relief sought is granted as weighed against the detriment to the health, safety, and welfare of the neighborhood or community by such grant. That within the intent and purposes of this ordinance, the variance relief sought, if granted, is the minimum variance necessary to afford relief. That such fence will not unduly shut out light or air to adjoining properties. That such fence will not create a fire hazard by reason of its construction or location. That the Zoning Board of Appeals finds that the following conditions are necessary in order to minimize adverse impacts upon the neighborhood or community. The fence will be limited to 11 feet from the property line with a 45-degree angle to the side property line?
11 feet from the property line on the candlestick side.
On the candlestick side, okay, there you go.
The 45-degree angle at the northwest.
Is that's good? Brad, is that sufficient?
Along the driveway of.
Okay, that's a motion by myself. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Zelak. Madam Clerk, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Gazzoni?
Yes.
Ms. Kreutzer?
Yes.
Mr. Michaeli?
Yes.
Ms. Monticelli?
Yes.
Mr. Nowak?
Yes.
Mr. Zelak?
Yes.
Mr. Matthews?
Yes. Okay, so your Plan C is what got approved.
Yes.
Try to
Thank
meet
you
in the
very
middle a little bit. We're trying to.
Yeah.
We do appreciate,
We
we
yeah.
appreciate your compromise.
No problem. Thank you for your time.
Okay. Thank you.
Did they want this?
Okay, one more case this evening. Thank you for your patience.
Do you want your photos back?
Oh, yeah.
We
can dispose of them if you like.
These are the ones you only gave one set of? But-
This was the purpose.
Okay, 2 Deer Path Drive. Madam Clerk, the legal notice when you are ready, please.
The 10th case considered by the Zoning Board of Appeals is that of the petition of Zachary and Ashley Sheasley, 2 Deer Path Drive, Lancaster, New York, for one variance for the purpose of installing a privacy fence on premises owned by the petitioners at 2 Deer Path Drive, New York, Lancaster, New York, to wit, a variance from the requirement of Chapter 400, zoning Section 34, subsection C of the Code of the Town of Lancaster. The request calls for installing a 6-foot-tall privacy fence in the required yard. Chapter 400 zoning, Section 34, subsection C of the Code of the Town of Lancaster requires within non-industrial districts, no fence or wall other than a necessary retaining wall over 3 feet in height shall extend into the front yard of any lot. The petitioners therefore request a 3-foot variance.
Okay, can we please have your names and addresses for the record, please?
Yes, my name is Ashley Sheasley, and the address is 2 Deer Path Drive, Lancaster, New York, 14086.
Zachary Sheasley, 2 Deer Path, Lancaster, New York.
Okay, could you tell us about your project, please?
Yes, so we're looking to have a white vinyl privacy fence along Fox Hunt Road. And we are looking, it comes, do you want to see?
Yeah, it comes off the side of the garage, and then it's going to be probably about 3 feet off the sidewalk, going back towards the end of the property line. So we're just looking to get the 3-foot variance because it's a corner lot, so we're looking to get that additional 3 feet to have that privacy fence.
And we're really looking for the privacy fence because we have 2 young daughters. We would like to obtain their privacy. We have another little one coming. Our backyard is pretty shallow, so we have a huge side yard. So we would essentially like to use our side yard, but it is kind of obstructing our view when we are on the patio. So we would like to use that side yard and just benefit the privacy. Again, we have 2 young daughters, and we have a new child coming in July. And we would like to get a dog. We would like to get a family dog. So a smaller fence probably wouldn't be feasible. And we do have multiple deer in the yard coming in and through the yard, so we would like to slightly prevent that. We did speak to our neighbors on the side of us. They were in complete agreement. Their children do come over as well, so they did agree that the 6-foot fence would benefit them as well because their children are in our yard. So they're like right next to us, and they said they had no problem with that because they do have a fence on their yard as well. And I guess it would be against fox hunt. There is multiple trees on the back of our lot. So there wouldn't be necessarily any obstruction because we are going 3 feet from the sidewalk. So there are a bunch of trees lining up on the back of our lot where essentially there would be no obstruction from, I guess, the other house behind us because there's just multiple trees obstructing as is. And then we have multiple trees along Fox Hunt, which we did call, and they said that they would trim the trees for us as well, just to minimize the obstruction on Fox Hunt because it is very tree over there. And we did look in the neighborhood. There's multiple fences on corner lots. I believe there's one on Idlebrook and Pheasant, and then there's also one on Pheasant Run and Deer Path. That matters.
Okay.
And that's it.
I'm going to turn it to the board for questions, starting with Ms. Monticelli.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have no questions.
Thank you, Mr. Nowak.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have no questions.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Zelak.
I had no questions as well.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Gazzoni.
None.
Thank you, Ms. Kritzer.
I don't have any questions.
And Ms. Buckley.
Yeah, I have one question.
Oh, there we go.
The trees in the back are on your property or the neighbors?
It'll be on the neighbor's property because there's a water drainage easement, so it's on the other side of that.
You seem like you have good privacy in the back anyway. I'm just wondering, why did you bother doing, like, say, 3 feet in the back and saving a little money?
Oh, well.
This is on the side.
The side,
of
we're
the sidewalk,
asking.
not the back.
Right, no, I know. Oh, so you're not going to be putting 6 all around? Okay, it's only for the side.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're just gonna get a privacy fence in the back to connect it, so
Yeah,
just
yeah,
leave it done.
yeah,
So,
okay.
we're just looking for that 3-foot variance on the side of
And
the sidewalk.
the difference with this one, if you pay attention to the last one was so how much time we spent on it, because their driveway went right up to the fence. This, we should just note that it's substantially different. There's already a lot of room in between, and there's already trees blocking the way anyway, so.
Yeah.
I'm good, thank you.
Okay, any questions or comments
Yeah.
from the audience? Okay, is there a motion from the board?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, motion by Ms. Monticelli.
Whereas the Zoning Board of Appeals of the Town of Lancaster has made the following findings, that this area variance for a single-family residence according to Part 617.5, C-17 of the New York State Codes, Rules, and Regulations is a Type 2 action and has been determined not to have a significant impact on the environment, therefore it is not subject to a seeker review. That no undesirable change will be produced in the character of the neighborhood by the granting of the area variance relief sought, since similar fences on corner lots are in the same neighborhood.
Thank you.
That no detriment to nearby properties will be created by the granting of the area variance relief sought. That the benefit sought by the applicant cannot be achieved by some other method feasible for the applicant to pursue other than the area variance relief sought, in that a shorter fence would not provide the privacy or security that the applicants seek.
Thank you.
Lockout.
That while the requested area variance relief appears substantial in that it is twice what zoning code allows, it is the minimum necessary to provide privacy and security.
Okay.
That the proposed area variance relief will not have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood or district. That the alleged difficulty is self-created but not to the extent necessary to preclude the granting of the area variance relief sought. That this board has taken into consideration the benefit to the applicants if the variance relief sought is granted, as weighed against the detriment to the health, safety, and welfare of the neighborhood or community by such grant. That within the intent and purposes of this ordinance, the variance relief sought, if granted, is the minimum variance necessary to afford relief. That such fence will not unduly shut out light or air to adjoining properties, that such fence will not create a fire hazard by reason of its construction or its location.
Okay, motion by Ms. Monticelli, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Nowak. Madam Clerk, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Getsoni?
Yes.
Ms. Kreutzer?
Yes.
Mr. Michaely?
Yes.
Ms. Monticelli?
Yes.
Mr. Noah?
Yes.
Mr. Zeller?
Yes.
Mr. Matthews?
Yes. Okay, your request is granted.
Thank you so much.
Have a good night.
Good luck with the baby.
Thank you.
Okay, any new business from members of the board?
I got nothing.
A motion to adjourn?
I'm moving. Second.
Second.
Who motioned?
Okay, yeah.
Second?
I said that.
I did.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried, meeting adjourned.
Nothing? All right.
Okay.
That was a fun one.
I was just going to say the same.
Make everybody happy. We got people that are not happy.
I mean,
They're gonna have to deal with,
yeah.
you know,
I can only hope that the young couple